If I had to start from zero as a brand new online teacher, from zero bookings, zero experience to my definition of fully booked, here's what I would do. Hey there, I'm Allison from OnlineTeacherAllison.com, where stay-at-home parents learn how to teach online so they can earn an income from home. I've been an online teacher for just about 4 years now. And if I could do it all over again from scratch, there's a few things I would change from my journey. One of them being setting myself up for success by scheduling myself for the same time period every day. So, for example, when I started teaching online, I kind of scattered my availability. So, I had a few available around dinner time. I had a few available like right after my son went to bed. I had some available first thing in the morning. Like they were everywhere. Now, was I willing to teach these hours all the time? No, I was not. So that was one of my problems. So for reference, I was teaching students in China, and for me in the central time zone, they're about 12, 13 hours ahead of me. So you can kind of think about that as we're going. So early morning for me was their evening, and that's when most classes were being booked. So if I had to start all over again, I would pick those early morning classes because they were considered peak times for bookings. So most students were online taking classes because it was their evening. They were home from school. And I would pick those slots, whether it be 4, 5, 6, however many I was willing to teach every day. And I'm going to open those consistently. And beyond opening those consistently, whether those classes were booked or not, I would have woken up at that time to start setting my schedule. So one way I really shot myself in the foot with this, I talk about this here in some of the most costly mistakes you can make as a new teacher, is that I didn't wake up unless that class was booked. But the problem became that it was sometimes booking overnight because I forgot to turn off that option where they could book really quickly like that. And so I missed the class, which cost me money, and it cost me in bookings because it hurt my participation score. And the participation score was kind of like a proportion or a percentage of however many classes were booked that month versus however many you completed successfully. So if I booked 100 classes that month, but I missed that one because I slept through it, I wasn't at 100%, and parents could see that for a month. And it does affect your bookings, especially if you miss a lot. And it can affect your contract with the company too. They can decide that they don't want you as a teacher because you're not representing them well. So I would open, I'm going to say 4 slots because that's about what I teach. Sometimes it's more. I would open those 4 slots every day, same time. Unless I want to take an off day, then I'm going to take that off day. And I'm going to be awake and at my computer for those times because algorithms know if you're active or not. So if you're not active on the platform in classes because you're still trying to get booked, you're at 0, then be active on the platform in other ways. A lot of them have like tutorials on how to use the platform. You can be perusing that. You can be getting more. So in VIP Kids case, they had certification. So I would certify myself. I would kind of take their class and their quiz to learn how to teach other types of classes. So find things you can do on the platform. And then once you've run out of things to do on the platform, make your way to YouTube and watch videos about your platform specifically. I would love for you to come back to mine and watch tips, but I understand that I don't always give platform specific videos because I can't be on every platform. So if you've picked like StarKid or Cambly or gosh, there's so many out there. Go find someone that can teach you all about that platform, even more specifically than I can. Like I am not active on StarKid. I have applied. They haven't told me anything. So I can't teach you about StarKid, but I can teach you about Cambly and VIP Kid because I'm active on those. But there's so many videos out there for those that I want to create things that you actually need. So set your hours, be active on the platform during those hours. And then while you're active and awake, start learning about your platform. Okay, so that's the first thing I would do is I would pick my times I want to teach. So the second thing I would do is I would really make myself stand out on my platform by doing a couple of things. And most of it has to do with your teacher profile setup as you get accepted onto your platform. So I would have a killer profile picture, a bomb introduction video, and a very well thought out, like, about me section. So when I first started, I just kind of threw together an introduction video. And while that's okay, I have tips here on how to make a really good one. You want to make sure it really represents you as a teacher. So I ended up updating mine pretty quickly because I just didn't like it. I felt like it was boring. So I decided that I wanted to attract the younger students. They were usually like 4 or 5 years old, level 1, brand new speakers. And so I made my introduction video around that. So I made it more appealing to the younger crowd. Now, if I had wanted to teach older students, I would have done that. I would have tweaked my video, tweaked my profile picture, and my about me section so it was more about older kids. But my experience is all through like elementary age. I do have like 1 year in middle school and 1 year teaching adult learners, like in person. But all the rest of my experience is with elementary age, so preschool through like 6th grade. So I really created my profile. I rounded it out so that it represented who I wanted to teach. Now, did I have older kids? Yeah, absolutely. And there was nothing wrong with that because it was really a nice break from the younger energy. So if you want to teach all older kids, that's fine, and you can cater your profile around that, but just understand that you're still going to get some younger kids and vice versa, and just be flexible. It's okay. It actually ends up being a nice break from the same lessons, the same energy, just kind of the sameness. So after I set up my hours and I am awake and ready to go for those hours and active on the platform, I am creating an eye-catching, exciting, well represented of me and what I want to teach profile, right? So those two things. And the last thing I would do if I had to start from absolute zero is I would make myself available just a little extra. Now I say don't do this, and that's the main rule of thumb, but here's a caveat. So when I first started, I pulled some all-nighters on the weekends because on the weekends, remember I told you about those peak times are like 5 to 9 in the morning. Well, on the weekends, they're like all day because it's the weekends. All day for them in China. So for me, it was all night. So I pulled some all-nighters. The summertime is really good to do this because it's a little more than that, right? And you kind of work it around your schedule a little better. But if you're watching this like it's the middle of the school year, then pick a weekend, pick a long holiday weekend, and just work an all-nighter or 2 or 3. I didn't do it a ton. I think I only did it 2 or 3 times because it killed me. I still had to be up with my son. So I understand if you can't do that because it's hard. But I really feel like that's what got me going because I opened up short notice slots. So on VIP Kid for short notice, if you were available short notice, you had the choice that you could be booked up to 1 hour before the class. So if my 6 o'clock class was booked short notice, they could book from 5 o'clock was the cutoff. So if I was awake, I'm constantly checking my schedule and my bookings to make sure that nothing came in. And the incentive for that, at the time, I got paid extra. Now they have changed their pay scale and you don't get paid extra for that now. So the only incentive you really have is you can get more students. And so that's great for just getting started because it helps you get started. And some of them will follow you over to your regularly scheduled programming. Not all of them will. And that's kind of the caveat with doing those weird hours is not all of those kids are available during your preferred teaching time. So you're going to see some like one and done. But, they could tell their friends about you, right? Or they could change their schedule and remember you. Or you just get lucky and you find the kid that's willing to follow you. Now, all these things can happen, but it is something that I really think helped me because a lot of those kids came over with me. I had this one particular student, she was booking me in the middle of the night or like late at night after my son was asleep, and she started booking me in the morning. So she followed me over. So you will get some of those students as you're teaching those like unfavorable all-nighters or whatever they happen to be for your schedule. And the final thing, I know I just said final thing, but I just thought of one more. I would seriously diversify my income. So I talked about this here and how to diversify your income as an online teacher. And I would find more than one platform that I'm willing to teach for that kind of works with the other. So with VIP Kid, it was first thing in the morning. So I kind of have two options here. I can find another platform that books heavily first thing in the morning, and I can kind of try to fill my schedule between the two. That was not my favorite solution because there is a risk of double booking. So you're booked at the same time for both platforms. Or it's really hard sometimes to like jump between platforms when you're booked like back to back. Another thing I could do is I could book for VIP Kid, who's first thing in the morning, and then I could find another platform who books like in the afternoon or in the evening and kind of film my schedule that way. Now, I go into more detail in that video I mentioned before. Just you kind of got to figure out what works best for you. And another great reason for that is, like, for example, with VIP Kid, because they are based in China, they go by Chinese law. And what happened in China was they decided that students couldn't take classes with us anymore. So I was out of an income very quickly. There were a lot of things to it, but basically they couldn't take classes with for-profit organizations. They couldn't take it from foreign teachers that hadn't been like vetted by the Chinese government, like if they're coming in and teaching, and they couldn't do it past a certain time on school dates. They couldn't do it on weekends or holidays if they were on your platform. So they put a lot of restrictions on their learners so that basically we couldn't teach anymore. So that's another great reason to diversify your income, is if something happens like that. I know it seems so rare, but it's just crazy that so many platforms went under very quickly because of that. It doesn't happen. So that's another reason to go from like China to another country, another time zone that books instead of the morning and the afternoon or the evening. Because if you pick two Chinese platforms, which a lot of teachers did, including myself, then even though your income is diversified, it's still gone because they are still in China. So while VIP Kid isn't completely under, they are kind of reformatting and they are taking their sweet time doing it. So there are bookings and they are getting better, but they have other things in the works. Like they're doing what's called VIP Teacher, and that's a new video in and of itself, but it's still not ready to go. And they announced it. Oh gosh, it's probably been about a year now. So diversify that income. So if I had to start from zero, those are the things I would do. And I would most definitely not miss any classes. I would be awake for each and every one, which is why I recommend you wake up or you stay awake, whatever. You're at your computer when those times are available, whether you're booked or not, because you're getting your body on schedule and it will be easier and you won't miss anything. All right. I hope that was helpful. I hope you're having the greatest week. I am planning our next cold coffee chat. So if you have a topic you would like me to cover, feel free to leave it in the comments or shoot me an email. And if you're wondering what the best teaching platforms are for you because you want to diversify or you just want to get started, head on over to onlineteacherallison.com/platform. I have a free download for you. It's one page, it's a PDF, and it will match you to a good platform based on what you want to teach, when you want to teach, and your experience. I hope you're having the greatest week ever, and we'll chat soon. Bye.